Iranian hackers move from the shadows to the spotlight, shaming a former IDF chief as confidential images and videos pour onto the internet. Iran's Handala strikes again, turning a fragile ceasefire into a backdrop for cybershock that now hangs over Bibi's war cabinet. Have top-secret Israeli facilities, crisis rooms, and maps really been exposed in this breach? Or is Tehran using cyber leaks to wage psychological war? Iran pointedly hints that Israel's defenses are laid bare like an open book, just as truce diplomacy struggles to hold. From war briefings and base tours to gym sessions and family moments, the ex-IDF chief's life is now on display, raising a sharper question. If they got this, what else do they have? An Iran-linked hacker group has claimed it breached devices belonging to former IDF Chief of Staff Herzi Halevi, exposing his private and professional activity. The group, known as Handala, says it collected over 19,000 images and videos from what it describes as Halevi's secret meetings. In a warning message, Handala boasted that Israel's secret facilities, crisis rooms, maps, and command centers are now an open book to them. To back its claims, the group released photos and videos showing Halevi touring military bases, inspecting infrastructure, and meeting officers. Other footage shows the former IDF chief holding briefings and even working out in his office, suggesting prolonged access to his devices. Handala also published personal images from Halevi's family life, including what appears to be his wife's ID card, raising security and privacy concerns. On April 2nd, the Handala hacktivist group announced it had breached a company directly tied to Israel's air defense systems. The group says it hacked PSK Wind Technologies, described as a key designer and operator of Israel's integrated command and control networks. Handala claims it gained full access to data on Israeli command centers and critical defense infrastructure, not just a few stray files. The leaked material allegedly includes blueprints of communication systems and operational details of Israel's air defense network. The hackers say they have already passed this intelligence to resistance missile units to help plan future strikes with greater precision. In its statement, Handala warns that Israeli defense networks will no longer enjoy the level of security they once took for granted. The group calls this hack the beginning of the collapse of Israel's false sense of security, framing it as a psychological as well as technical blow. Handala also warns that no military system, however advanced, will remain safe from future cyberattacks by the so-called resistance axis. In its statement, Handala said, Israeli command centers and defense infrastructure will no longer enjoy their previous level of security. Future resistance operations can be planned and carried out based on the intelligence obtained in this attack. This is only the beginning of the collapse of Israel's false sense of security. No system, regardless of its technical sophistication or military-grade design, is immune to the cyber capabilities of the resistance. Unquote. Earlier, the same group claimed it had hacked the phones of Netanyahu's chief of staff and former PM Naftali Bennett, signaling a wider campaign against Israel's leadership. All this unfolds as confusion deepens over the very terms of the fragile ceasefire between US and Iran. Amid a fragile ceasefire, Donald Trump slammed recent reports by the New York Times and CNN on April 9th. Trump said the coverage of Iran's 10-point truce proposal by the two outlets was fake and misleading to the public. His comments came as confusion over the ceasefire terms fueled tensions, leading to fresh military operations in the region. On April 8th, Israel launched nearly 100 airstrikes on targets in Lebanon in just 10 minutes, prompting Iran to call it a violation. The US and Israel maintained that Lebanon was not part of the truce, but Iran insisted it was and simultaneously blocked the Strait of Hormuz. Reopening the strategic oil shipping route through the Strait of Hormuz had been a key condition set by Trump for halting hostilities. Earlier, reports highlighted confusion over the nuclear enrichment clause in the 10-point framework intended for US-Iran talks. While the English version of Iran's document omitted references to nuclear enrichment, the original Farsi version reportedly included it. CNN rejected the allegations made by President Trump, insisting that it had received its information from verified sources. The network said, "We received the statement from official Iranian spokespeople who are known to us," defending its reporting. Trump, however, insisted that Tehran's only official response was a brief English statement issued by Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi. The president's comments came after US Vice President J.D. Vance revealed that he had seen 3 different versions of the 10-point deal. Vance explained that the differing proposals had fueled confusion over the terms of negotiations and the scope of the ceasefire. He added that the first proposal, allegedly shared with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, had been immediately rejected. US Vice President J.D. Vance said, and I quote, "The first 10-point proposal was something that was submitted, and we think, frankly, was probably written by ChatGPT to Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, and it immediately went in the garbage and was rejected. A second 10-point proposal that was much more reasonable, and that was based on some back and forth between us, the Pakistanis, and the Iranians," unquote. Vance's comments on confusion over the ceasefire raised questions about the role of the mediator. His claims sparked speculation that Pakistan may have shared differing proposals with both sides, fueling the dispute.
But we thankfully at this point, I think, have a ceasefire, thanks to the leadership of the President of the United States. We have the Iranians promising to open the Straits of Hormuz, and we have a negotiation that's supposed to start this weekend. I think the Iranians thought that the ceasefire included Lebanon, and it just didn't. We never made that promise. We never indicated that was going to be the case. What we said is that the ceasefire would be focused on Iran, and the ceasefire would be focused on America's allies, both Israel and the Gulf Arab states. Now, that said, the Israelis, as I understand it, again, I'm supposed to get a fuller report when I get on the plane, have actually offered to be, frankly, to check themselves a little bit in Lebanon because they want to make sure that our negotiation is successful. Fundamentally, the Iranians have got to take the next step, or the president has a lot of options to go back to the war. The more that they're willing to give us, I think the more they're going to get things out of this negotiation. I encourage the Iranians to come to the table seriously. We've seen some signs that they're going to do that. We've seen some signs of bravado. Fundamentally, we're in a good spot. They're reopening the straits. We have a ceasefire. And frankly, if they break their end of the bargain, then they're going to see some serious consequences.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.